Welcome back to the channel, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Today, we're diving deep into the story of a tiny copper coin that could be hiding a fortune in plain sight. You guessed it, the 1981 D. Lincoln cent. That's right, this 1 cent piece from Denver might be sitting in your pocket change, in an old drawer, or buried in a forgotten piggy bank. But make no mistake, some of these coins are worth way more than just 1 cent. Some are worth thousands. The year was 1981. Ronald Reagan had just stepped into the White House. Gasoline was about $1.25 a gallon. The first IBM personal computer was released. And in the bustling Denver Mint, millions upon millions of pennies were rolling off the presses, over 5 billion, to be exact. But hidden among those billions were a few that stood out. A few that collectors would come to chase for decades. And that's where our story begins. Let's start with the face of the coin, literally. The 1981 D. Lincoln cent features the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This portrait has appeared on the U.S. penny since 1909, celebrating the centennial of Lincoln's birth. It was the first time in American history that a real person, rather than a symbolic figure like Liberty, appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. Victor David Brenner was a Lithuanian-born engraver whose initials, VDB, were famously removed from the coin shortly after it was released in 1909, only to be reinstated decades later. That's just one of the many historical layers behind this humble coin. Flip the coin, and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to mark Lincoln's 150th birthday. If you look closely, really closely, you can even see a tiny figure of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. It's a detail that most people miss, but it shows just how much craftsmanship went into making even a 1-cent coin. Now let's talk about that little D under the year. That stands for the Denver Mint. In 1981, Denver produced an astronomical 5.3 billion Lincoln cents. That's billion with a B. So you might be thinking, if there were billions made, how could any be valuable? And that's where things get interesting.